Hi, this is Paul with a tutorial on OctaneRender for Modo. In this tutorial we're going to go through and see how to connect Modo channels into Octane nodes. So we'll start off with a fairly simple scene just to demonstrate how to do this with the environment. So at the moment you can see Modo's rendering the sphere there. If we go and render that in Octane, you can see the sphere. The environment at the moment is just a plain grey background, so we can see that here. It's this background colour here. So if we would like to set this colour according to something in Modo, you can simply drag it onto the schematic, and you can see that's here. So the environment colour from Octane is on the schematic, and say you want to take the colour from example the diffuse color from this material here. You'll see it's here, and we can plug that in, and you can see that immediately the background changes color to the color in the base material. So changing that base material color, you can see it changes both the background and the material of the sphere. So you can see I've also got a color invert here, so we could invert the color and plug it into the environment. So you can see in that case it takes the Modo color and inverts it and uses it as the environment color, and again that gets updated live. So you can do this for any property or channel in the environment. So all of these things here can be dragged onto the schematic and plugged into from any Modo source. You can do the same for the camera and for the kernel settings. Okay, taking this to the next level, we can do the same with Modo materials. So for example, in this scene we have got a sphere, and the sphere material here has been connected or sourced from a color HSV and a math node. So in this particular case there are no Octane nodes involved whatsoever. So Octane is converting this Modo material to the sphere on the fly. So we can change the HSV, and you can see that that immediately updates. Similarly with this maths node here, this maths node is feeding the Modo material specular amount. So changing anything here changes the resulting Octane material. So the Octane material is being converted on the fly from the Modo material, and the Modo material is being fed by other Modo channel modifiers or channels. So we can do a similar thing with Octane overrides. So in this particular scene we have an Octane override. So this particular Octane override has an RGB color here which we can change as you would normally expect. So we could feed this color from, say, the base material color. Now this channel here is a Modo channel, and you cannot plug it in directly into an Octane pin. You need to go via either the Octane RGB color or one of these values. So we right click and add the color channel here. I'll just delete that to show you a little better. So it will be an RGB color. So the RGB color is plugged into the diffuse. We right click and add the channel for the color, and then we can plug in the material color, and then we can edit that. So this Octane override the diffuse color is being fed by a Modo color or a Modo channel color. And again, you could do exactly the same with any of the channels in this. Anywhere in the scene could feed into an Octane override. So finally, we will look at how this could be used with area lights. So at the moment, I'll just go into the render tab. So you can see Modo is rendering. So at the moment, I'll just adjust that size a bit. So at the moment, this area light is a Modo area light, and it is not being transferred to the Octane scene. In order to do that, we need to click the Create Octane Emitter, and this will create a mesh, which is here, and a material, which is here, to be the emitter. And after we do that, we just refresh the scene. So you can see that the Octane scene matches the Modo scene. The emitter is the same power. If you don't want to see the actual emitter, you can change the opacity to 0. So you can see that opacity goes to 0. Now, one of the issues with this at the moment is, say, this area light. If we change the color of the emitter, because we have created an Octane override, that color has not gone through to the Octane viewport. So to get around this, we can drag that color. So at the moment, the emission color is there. So we can add those channels. And choose the area light. And plug that into the source. And you'll see the color now matches. So as we change the emission color, that is being updated live in both the Modo scene and the Octane scene. And we can do exactly the same amount for the radiance. So if we take the radiance value and add a float value, and again on the float value you want to add the float channel, and then you can plug the area light intensity into the power. So now when we select the area light and change the power to say 30, you'll see the Octane override power gets changed as well. So hopefully that gives you a quick idea of the sort of power and flexibility that you can now have by plugging channel modifiers and Modo channels and properties into Octane materials. Thanks for listening, and any questions, ask me in the forum. Thank you.